In the spotlight tonight is John Rook from Enfield, a retired further education lecturer, and his subject is French political history from 1815 to 1914. David Love from Wombourne, a pensions and investment planner, and his subject is the life and works of Gustav Holst. Alastair Finch from Cleethorpes, a general practitioner. His specialist subject, the films of Harrison Ford. And Anne Thompson Knox from Glasgow, a retired educationalist, and her subject is the life of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. And welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphreys. The most infamous chair on television awaits tonight's contenders, and each of them must answer, as ever, 2 minutes of questions on their specialist subject and another 2 minutes on general knowledge. Only one of them can go through to the next round and have a chance, perhaps, of becoming the nation's mastermind. Those are the rules, so let's get on with it and have our first contender, please. And your name is?
John Rook.
Your occupation?
Retired further education lecturer.
And your chosen subject?
French political history, 1815-1914.
In 2 minutes, starting now, who was the prefect of the Seine for most of the Second Empire and was responsible for the reconstruction of Paris?
Haussmann.
Correct. In February 1834, a strike by silk weavers in which city led to rioting and military suppression the following April?
Lyon.
Yes. In which newspaper did Émile Zola publish J'accuse in January 1898?
L'Aurore.
Yes. Which chief minister of Charles X tried with the king to overturn their electoral defeat of 1830?
Polignac.
Correct. In April 1867, Emperor Louis Napoleon tried to buy which territory from the King of the Netherlands, but was prevented from doing so by Bismarck?
Pass.
François Königstein, who was responsible for bomb attacks during the trial of the Paris anarchists in 1892, was commonly known by what name?
Pass.
In March 1914, what action did the wife of the former Prime Minister, Joseph Caillou, take when a smear campaign was waged against her husband by Le Figaro?
She killed the editor.
Yes, she shot and killed him. What name is given to the Act of 1850, which extended the role of the clergy in education?
Roi Fallou.
Correct. Which priest, writer and supporter of the ultramontanists in the French church gradually adopted a liberal republican position that was condemned by the Pope in 1834?
Lamennais.
Yes. How did the reactionary politician and general Georges Boulanger die in September 1891?
He committed suicide.
He did. Which writer, political theorist and spokesman for the far right defended Major Henry's forged letter in the Gazette de France during the Dreyfus affair?
Charles Marat.
Yes. In 1840, which socialist published Qu'est-ce la propriété with its famous declaration that property is theft?
Proudhon.
Yes. Which celebrated author became the foreign minister in 1822, was largely responsible for the French intervention in Spain the following year?
Chateaubriand.
Correct. The dealings of which failed company provided the fascist journalist Edouard Drumont with an opportunity to discredit Clemenceau in the early 1890s?
Panama.
Yes, Panama Canal. From which channel port... start itself, finish. From which channel port did Louis Napoleon attempt to start an uprising in August 1840?
Boulogne.
Boulogne is correct. You had 2 passes. Königstein was known by the name Ravochal, and in April 1867, Louis Napoleon tried to buy the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. 2 passes. John Rook, 13 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name is?
David Love.
Your occupation?
Life and pensions planner.
And your chosen subject?
Life and works of Gustav Holst.
Gustav Holst in 2 minutes. In which British town was Holst born in 1874?
Cheltenham.
Correct. What was the final movement of the planets to be completed?
Mercury.
Yes. What occupation did Holst give Prince Satyabhan when he created the libretto for Savitri from the Mahabharata?
I was a woodman.
Yes. Although Holst intended The Perfect Fool to be performed without an orchestral prelude, which work did he suggest might be used should an overture be required?
The Fugal Overture.
Correct. Holst's study of which instrument was partly inspired by the belief that it would combat his asthma?
Trombone.
Yes. Which poem by Walt Whitman was set by Holst for male voices, brass and percussion in 1914, and also by Vaughan Williams in his Dona Nobis Pacem?
Dirge for Two Veterans.
Correct. Who conducted the first private performance of The Planets with the New Queen's Hall Orchestra in 1918 and remained associated with the work throughout his career?
Adrian Bolt.
Yes, in 1919, Holst was appointed to a conducting and teaching position at which university college, which later became a university?
Reading.
Yes. Holst used whose translation of medieval Latin verses in the 6 choruses and the 8 canons that he composed in 1931 and 32?
Helen Waddell.
Correct. In 1911, he directed the first performance since the 1690s of which stage work by Purcell?
The Fairy Queen.
Yes. Which harmonic technique, whose name implies that 2 keys are being used simultaneously, features prominently in Holst's mature music?
Bitonal.
Yes. In both the Suite No. 2 for military band and St Paul's Suite, the folk tune called the Da Garçon is counterpointed with which familiar tune?
Greensleeves.
Yes. On which ocean liner did Holst begin to draft a fugal concerto for flute, oboe and strings?
The Lusitania.
Aquitania. Which writer, who was also the brother of a well-known composer, wrote the libretto for The Wandering Scholar?
Clifford Bax.
Yes. In which Essex village did Holst establish a music festival in 1916?
Thaxted.
Yes. Which of Holst's early works, I've finished the question, did he later describe as good old Wagnerian bawling?
Sitar.
Sitar is correct. You had no passes. David Love, you have 15 points. And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Alastair Finch.
Your occupation?
General practitioner.
And your chosen subject?
The films of Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. In 2 minutes, in which 85 film does Harrison Ford play the detective John Book, who spends time in an Amish community?
Witness.
Yes, Ford made his first screen appearance in which uncredited role in the 1966 crime drama Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round?
The Bellhop.
Yes, in Air Force One, who plays the non-speaking part of the imprisoned Kazakh leader General Radek?
Jürgen Prochnow.
Correct. Before Han Solo is frozen in carbonite on Darth Vader's orders, Princess Leia tells him that she loves him. How does Han respond?
I know.
Yes, in Blade Runner, what's the model name and number of the type of robots known as replicants, which Rick Deckard is hired to detect and kill because they've illegally returned to Earth?
T-200.
Nexus 6. Which character does Ford play in American Graffiti and its sequel?
Bob Falfer.
Yes, in The Last Crusade, what's the name of the relic that the young Indiana Jones finds in Utah and is then forced to hand over before recovering it 26 years later off the Portuguese coast?
Cross.
Of
Christ.
Coronado. Ford plays a security expert who lives and works in which city in the 2006 film Firewall?
Seattle.
Yes, whose novel was adapted for the film Presumed Innocent, in which Ford plays the accused lawyer Rusty Savage?
Scott Turow.
Correct. In Hollywood Homicides, with what other job does Ford's character, Sergeant Joe Gavilan, supplement his police pay?
Real estate.
Yes, what was the UK title of the 1967 film A Time for Killing, in which he appeared as Lieutenant Schaffer?
The Long Ride Home.
Yes, who directed him in both regarding Henry and Working Girl?
Mike Nichols.
Yes. Which of Ford's films was dedicated to the memory of his father, Christopher, who died during the film's completion in 1999?
Random Hearts.
Yes, in Roman Polanski's Frantic, the Critron, the electronic gizmo sought by Mrs. Walker's abductors, is hidden in a model of which landmark?
The Statue of Liberty.
Yes, who plays the wife of Ford's character Jack Ryan in Patriot Games and in Clear and Present Danger?
Anne Archer.
Yes, in which 74 film was Ford originally due to play the character of Mark, but ended up playing Martin Stett instead?
The Conversation.
Yes, after filming Star Wars, in which 77 film did Ford play a supporting role as the Vietnam veteran Kenny Ace Boyd?
Heroes.
Correct. No passes. Alastair Finch, 15 points. And our last contender, please. And your name is?
And Thompson Knox.
And your occupation?
Retired educationalist.
And your chosen subject?
Life of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis.
Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis in 2 minutes. What was the name of the church where Jackie was baptised in 1929 and where a funeral was held in 1994?
St. Ignatius Loyola.
Yes. What was the name of the house in Virginia in which she lived from 1942 after her mother's marriage to Hugh Auchinloss?
Marywood.
Yes. In 1962, when Jackie went on a trip to India and Pakistan, what did the Pakistani president present her with, which had to be flown home by a military air transport service plane?
A horse.
Yes. With which publishing company did she work as an editor from 1978 until her death?
Doubleday.
Yes. With which Oscar-winning Hollywood actor did Jackie reportedly have a brief affair in the mid-50s?
Pass.
On which newspaper did she get her first job as a photographer with the help of a family friend, Arthur Crock?
Washington Times Herald.
Yes. Which architect did she commission to design the John F. Kennedy Library in Boston, which formally opened in October 1979?
IMP.
Yes. Which diamond merchant whom Jackie first met in the late 50s became her constant companion after he left his wife in 1982?
Morris Templesman.
Yes. What was the name of the Georgian house above the Potomac at McLean that the young Kennedys bought in 1955?
Hickory Hill.
Yes. On which island did Jackie marry Aristotle Onassis on the 20th of October 1968?
Scorpius.
Correct. What was the name of the English nurse who was engaged as a nanny for her daughter Caroline in 1957
Maud
and
Shaw.
stayed in Jackie's service until 65?
Maud Shaw.
Correct. During her tenure at the White House, Jackie was involved in an archaeological project to save the ancient monuments at which site in what was then the United Arab Republic?
Palestine.
Abu Simbel. At which boarding school in Connecticut was Jackie enrolled as a pupil in the autumn of 44?
Miss Porter's at Farmington.
Yes. What was the name of the Wall Street banker to whom Jackie was briefly engaged at the beginning of 1952?
John Husted.
Yes. Whom did Jackie appoint as her official fashion designer in 1960 after John F. Kennedy's election to the presidency?
Oleg Cassini.
Correct. On a visit with the children to which country in 67 did she almost drown while she was swimming in the sea, had to be rescued by a Secret Service agent?
Republic of Ireland.
Yes. What was the name of the Archbishop who conducted the ceremony at Jackie's first wedding and supported her in the controversy over her marriage to Onassis?
Cushing.
Yes. Whom did Jackie outstart? It's all finished. Whom did Jackie commission to write an official version of President Kennedy's assassination, though she later threatened to sue him to prevent the book's serialisation in Look magazine?
Manchester.
William Manchester's correct, and the one pass, that actor whom she reportedly had a brief fling with was William Holden. One pass, and Thompson Knox, 16 points. So that's the end of the first round. Let's have a look at the scores. In fourth place with 13 points, John Rook. Joint second place with 15 points, David Love and Alastair Finch. A very close contest this. In the lead with 16 points, and Thompson Knox. So, the general knowledge round now, and if there's a tie at the end of this round, which there very well might be, the way it's going, then the number of passes get taken into account, and the person with the fewest passes is the winner. And if there's still a tie, well, then we have a playoff. So, let's get on with this general knowledge round. Let me ask John Rook to join us again, if you would, please. And I was a little puzzled about your choice because you were very specific. French political history, 1815 to 1914. But when you look at the history of that period, it was quite extraordinary, wasn't it? It must be one of the most turbulent centuries.
Several regimes, many parties. And it went from France being the nation of Europe to a rather diminished status after the defeat by Prussia.
Was there something in the French nature that caused all of that mayhem?
A lot of the discord was caused by the events of the first revolution, the 1789 revolution, with the but there does seem to be a tendency to violence in France, whereas in Britain you only had the Peterloo massacre and the odd assassination, whereas in France there were street fighting, and the June days of 1848 hundreds were killed.
Makes us look very stable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, you've got 13 points. Very close contest, as I keep saying. Let's see how you do with general knowledge. 2 minutes. Which artist and archaeologist, a friend of Lord Carnarvon, found the entrance to the tomb of Tutankhamun on the 4th of November 1922?
Howard Carter?
Yes. What name of German origin is given to a crisp biscuit baked in the form of a knot or stick and flavoured with salt?
Bagel.
Pretzel. Who became the first Prime Minister of India when the country achieved independence in 1947?
Nehru.
Yes. The caiman, found in Central and South America, is a close relative of which well-known reptile?
Crocodile.
Yes, which innovative design style, popular in the 1920s and 30s, takes its name from the Exposition Internationale des Arts Décoratifs et Industriels Modernes held in Paris in 1925.
Art Deco.
Yes, who won an Oscar for his role as Private Angelo Maggio in the film From Here to Eternity?
Frank Sinatra.
Correct. In the New Testament, which of the four Gospels is the shortest, generally considered to be the earliest?
Mark.
Yes. Which two American Ivy League universities have held an annual boat race on the Thames River at New London, Connecticut since 1878?
Yale and Harvard.
Yes, the first Anglo-Saxon settlers in Britain were said to be led by two brothers. One was called Hengist. What was the name of the other?
Horsa.
Yes. Which author's memoir of his early days growing up in Des Moines, Iowa, is entitled The Life and Times of the Thunderbolt Kid?
Bill Bryson.
Yes. Which Czech composer's first symphony was called The Bells of Slonich?
Oh, Smetana.
Dvořák. On a map of Wales, what geographical feature does the word pistil refer to?
Pass.
Which television chef who was famous for slurping wine while cooking was known as the Galloping Gourmet?
Graham Kerr.
Yes. Which war poet who was born in Oswestry, Shropshire in 1893 was killed in action on the 4th of November 1918, a week before Armistice Day?
Wilfred Owen.
Yes. Who starred as the King of Siam in the original Broadway production of The King and I, later recreated the role for the film version?
Alfred Drake.
Yul Brynner. Glen Moy and Glen Ample are varieties of which soft fruit grown widely in Scotland?
Pass.
Well, I can tell you it's the raspberry. And you had one other pass. Pistil on a map of Wales refers to a waterfall or cataract or some such. Two passes, John Rook, a total of 24 points.
Thank you.
And now David Love, please. And I suppose Gustav Holst, I suppose it's tempting to think of him as the man who wrote the planets, and that's about it, really.
Probably around about the time of his death and a bit before then, he'd have been thought of as maybe a three-hit wonder, because in his time, as popular as the planets was The Hymn of Jesus, and his ballet music to The Perfect Fool was equally popular as a concert piece. He's probably the most imaginative, I would say, of all British composers, which is quite an achievement considering he also considered himself an amateur.
Really? He kept his job, his day job?
Yes, he taught, he kept the one teaching job right up until the time of his death. And at times he was doing 3 or 4 teaching jobs at any one time. And in his earlier days, supplementing his income by playing trombone in seaside bands or second-rate opera companies.
Well, you have 15 points. Let's see how you do with your general knowledge. In 2 minutes, starting now, which famous Englishman was killed by a musket shot from the French ship Redoutable on the 21st of October, 1805?
Nelson.
Yes, which brightly coloured British bird generally found near water is a member of the Alcedinidae family?
Kingfisher.
Yes, niter is one of the alternative names for potassium nitrate. What's the other?
Black... saltpeter.
Saltpeter, yes. Which cabinet minister in Harold Wilson's government was the MP for Blackburn from 1945 to 1979?
Barbara Castle.
Yes. Which city in Tennessee is named after the capital of ancient Egypt because its location on the Mississippi resembled the latter's situation on the Nile?
Memphis.
Yes. Who in 2006 became the youngest woman to win the Man Booker Prize with her novel The Inheritance of Loss?
Joe Farrell.
Kieran Desai. In 1867, the English physician Thomas Albert invented a short version of which basic clinical instrument, earlier models of which had been a foot long and took 20 minutes to work?
Pass.
In Greek and Roman mythology, who was the muse of erotic and love poetry?
Eros.
Erato. Finland has 2 official languages. One is Finnish. What's the other?
Suomi.
Swedish. Which American singer and songwriter duetted with Barbra Streisand on the 1978 top 10 hit You Don't Bring Me Flowers?
Chris Christopherson.
Neil Diamond. The Englishman Arthur Johnson was the first coach of which prestigious Spanish football club?
Juventus.
Real Madrid. In the film Jaws, what's the name of the resort where the bathers are attacked by a giant shark?
Amity.
Yes. Which American company built the highly successful DC-3 passenger aircraft and its military variants, known to the RAF in the Second World War as the Dakota?
Douglas.
Yes. Which Lancashire town that was once an important fishing port stands at the mouth of the River Wyre?
Fleetwood.
Yes. What pen name did the newspaper columnist Sir William Connor use when he wrote for the Daily Mirror?
Beak.
Cassandra, the hip joint where the top of the femur fits into the pelvic girdle is the largest of which type of joint in the human body?
Ball and socket.
Ball and socket is correct. You had the one pass. That instrument was the thermometer. One pass, David Love, 24 points. And now Alastair Finch, please. And your man, Harrison Ford, was the richest actor alive not so very long ago. So how did he come to be so rich?
Because he happened to be in very popular films. He happened to be... I think Harrison Ford is an old-fashioned movie star. He's not a brilliant actor, he would himself admit that, but he's a lucky actor because two of his most famous roles he actually got by accident. Because Tom Selleck was supposed to be Indiana Jones, if you can believe it, and the Universal wouldn't let him off doing Magnum, so Harrison Ford got it instead.
He was lucky in other ways, wasn't he? Because he was a carpenter by trade.
Yes, and that's how he got the part in Star Wars. He was actually making a door for Francis Coppola's office when George Lucas actually happened to be passing and asked him to read the parts with the other actors who'd already been chosen for Star Wars, and that's how he got the job as Han Solo.
He wasn't even an actor.
Not at that stage. He'd more or less given up acting because he'd been told in one of these screen tests, similar to Fred Astaire's Can't Act, Can't Sing, he'd been told he would never amount to anything.
Right, well, you got 15 points with him. Everybody seems to be scoring 24 points at the moment. Let's see if you can do better than that and take the lead. Here we go. Which of Shakespeare's plays includes the characters Oberon and Titania, the king and queen of the fairies?
Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yes, Uhuru Peak, meaning Freedom Peak in Swahili, is the highest point of which mountain?
Kilimanjaro.
Yes, who became Britain's first footballer to be transferred for £500,000 when he moved from Liverpool to Hamburg in 1977?
Kevin Keegan.
Correct. Which insect is also known as the devil's darning needle, possibly because of an old superstition that it could sew up ears and mouths?
Daddy Longlegs.
Dragonfly. In the Peloponnesian War, the people of which city-state, noted for its rigid military discipline, were the enemies of the Athenians?
Sparta.
Yes. The peanut has two common alternative names in Britain. One is the groundnut. What's the other?
Pecan.
Monkey nut. Which impressionist painted Dance at the Moulin de la Galette, depicting an open-air scene of a cafe?
Toulouse-Lautrec.
Renoir. In Islam, what name is given to a person who knows the Quran by heart?
Zealot.
Hafiz. In Mike Leigh's 1999 film Topsy-Turvy, Jim Broadbent and Alan Corduna play which musical collaborators?
Gilbert and Sullivan.
Yes, since 1833, where in England has a red ball been dropped daily at 1 p.m. as a public time signal?
Greenwich.
Yes, which word for a list of items to be discussed at a meeting comes from the Latin for requiring to be done?
Agenda.
Yes, a rock hopper is a species of which bird?
Penguin.
Correct. What is the name of Sherlock Holmes' landlady at 221B Baker Street, who appears in several stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle?
Mrs. Hudson.
Yes. Which Roman emperor who ruled from 361 to 363 AD attempted to restore the Roman polytheistic cult system as the religion of the empire?
Constantine.
Julian. Which city's railway station at Temple Meads is a Grade 1 listed building?
Bristol.
Yes. What was the name of the European Space Agency's first successful rocket, which made its maiden flight on Christmas Eve 1979?
Mercury.
Ariane. Which rock band story is told by the former Irish football international Eamon Dunphy in his book Unforgettable Fire?
U2.
U2 is correct. No passes. And you've done it. You're in the lead. 26 points. And finally, Anne Thompson Knox, please. And you have chosen, I suppose we could call her the first Queen of the United States, Jackie
That's
Kennedy,
right.
Kennedy Bouvier, whatever you want to call her.
That was Frank Sinatra who actually christened her America's Queen. And unfortunately, or fortunately for her, it was a very high pedestal, and so a long distance to fall down in latter years.
Was she very important to John F. Kennedy? Because he was obviously a glamorous, we think of him now as being at the time a very glamorous figure himself, but she lent him something that he wouldn't have otherwise had.
Yes, I think she lent him well, apart from anything else, she lent him, in American terms, social register status,
Right.
which, although he was from a very rich family, she had more of a social background than he did. But they discovered during the election campaign, when he stood for the president, that the crowds trebled if Jackie was going to be around and about. And that went down very, very well.
Well, you scored 16 points with your knowledge of her, and the score to beat is 26. So, let's see if you can do that with your general knowledge. Which prolific writer of romantic fiction was born at Tyne Dock, County Durham in 1906 and set many novels in her native northeast?
Catherine Cookson.
Correct. Which composer born in Lucca in 1858 is celebrated with an annual opera festival in Torre del Lago?
Rossini.
Puccini. What was the name of the garden where Jesus was arrested on the night of the Last Supper?
Gethsemane.
Yes. Which girls' school created by the cartoonist Ronald Searle was the setting for 5 comedy films made by Frank Launder and Sidney Gilliatt between 1954 and 1980?
St. Trinian's.
Yes. In which South American country did the Maoist guerrilla movement Sendero Luminoso or Shining Path operate in the 80s and 90s?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
In which South American country did the Maoist guerrilla movement of Sendero Luminoso or Shining Path operate in the 1980s and 90s?
Cambodia.
Peru. The roe deer and which other species are the only deer indigenous to Britain, the others having been originally imported?
Red deer.
Yes. Where in the British Isles are the award-winning Agerstone wines produced?
Devon.
Isle of Wight. Which of the goodies is a qualified doctor and was one of the hosts of the BBC medical programme Body Matters?
Jonathan.
No. Graham Garden. In 1987, which aviator became Time magazine's first Man of the Year?
Pass.
What number on the pH scale indicates that a solution is neutral, neither acid nor alkaline?
0.
7. On which everyday items did the Queen agree to allow the monarch's head to appear in 1960?
Stamps.
No. Banknotes. Which major English river rises on the slopes of Cross Fell, the highest point of the Pennines, and flows through the town of Barnard Castle?
The Ouse.
The Tees. Who directed the film The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, for which his father, Walter, won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor?
John Huston.
Yes. Bubbles of which gas are formed in the blood of divers when they get the bends?
Nitrogen.
Yes. Which Renaissance artist picture The Virgin of the Rocks exists in 2 versions, one in the Louvre and the other in the National Gallery in London?
Botticelli.
Da Vinci. What nickname is given to the type of fire engine that was used by the Army during the firemen's strikes of 77 and 2002?
Green Goddess.
Yes. In which German cathedral is there a reliquary said to contain the bones of the 3 magi which were brought to the city in 1164?
Salzburg.
Cologne. 1 pass. Charles Lindbergh was the aviator who became Time magazine's first Man of the Year. And Thompson Knox, 23 points. So there it is. Let's have a look at the scores. What a close contest. In 4th place with 23 points, Anne Thompson Knox. In joint 2nd place with 24 points, John Rook and David Love. 1st place with 26 points, Alastair Finch. Which means that Dr. Finch goes through to the next round. Congratulations to him. Thank you for watching. Do join us next week for more Masterminds. Goodbye. To find out more about tonight's specialist subjects, do log on to www.bbc.co.uk/mastermind.
University Challenge next tonight, then hot and spicy Indian food made easy on BBC 2 at 8:30.